we came up with a voluntary scheme in 2007. I'll talk about the scheme slightly later, but let me say a little bit more on how did the scheme come up in the first place. We, I think, had a total of about 20 workshops across the country in different points of time to get the feedback from various stakeholders, which not only included the EIA consultants, it also included project proponents, the civil society, the academia, research institutes, and everybody. We also got in touch with many people to guide us as to how should we go about doing it, and that's how it took shape in 2007. I don't know how many of you know, QCI, Quality Council of India, is an autonomous organization jointly set up by the Government of India and the three apex industry associations, that is the CII, FICCI, and ASSOCHAM. It's an autonomous body, it does not get any grant from the government, so it works on its own. So any work that it does has to be financed by the recipient of that service. Basically, what we felt that after discussions, environmental impact assessment is a multidisciplinary activity where you got to know a broad understanding of the sector for which you want to develop an EIA, for example, power plants or mining project or river valley project or wastewater, as well as what are the environmental connotations of activities from that project, both at the three phases: construction phase, operation phase, as well as phasing out phase if applicable. Now, being that kind of an activity, the first conclusion that we came to was that it may not be possible for individual consultants, the type who with a mobile and a laptop claim to be consultants, to actually do EIAs, because not only it requires multidisciplinary inputs, it requires a lot of backup supports also. So the first conclusion was that we can accredit only organizations. And the organization should also be of some minimum size. I mean, we are not saying that everybody should be, an employee of that organization. So organization should also be some minimum size, and it should have some minimum facilities, systems and procedures, etc. to guide it. The second conclusion that we came to was that human resource, obviously, who are involved in developing an EIA is probably the most crucial input to that EIA. And for that, there has to be one central person whom we said that he can be called the EIA coordinator. So his job would be to conceive the work, to understand what it involves, to then select his team, go to the site, understand what are the site conditions, and they develop his own terms of reference and then the baseline data collection and subsequent activities in terms of developing the EIA. Now this EIA coordinator needs to be helped by what we said, that functional area experts. Those are subject specialists. For example, for physical environment, we said that there has to be a air pollution control expert, a water pollution control expert, a land use expert, or a water quality modeling expert. Then there are 12 such experts that we have identified. It also includes two very important aspects of EIA making, which even till date is a big thing in our EIA process, which are the social related issues of an EIA and the ecological issues. So we have also included a socio-economist expert and an ecology and biodiversity expert. So basically, all these experts are supposed to give inputs to the coordinator. Then the coordinator, sitting with all of them, develops the EIA. That is the basic premise on which this scheme has been developed. Now, I think this I have already said, that coordinators and functional area experts. The second thing which we found, that in our country, EIAs are very person specific. In an organization, one person is very capable, He does the whole thing, takes a little bit of help from here and there, and that person leaves that organization, the entire expertise of developing EIA goes with him. So we felt that like other sectors of industry and consultancy, there should be some systems and procedures also in place so that the capability of developing EIA stays back with that organization, even if somebody decides to leave that. So we have said that we did not say you have to be ISO 9001 certified or something, but we said you should document how you will approach process of EIA. What should the EIA content, as Master Saab said that sectoral documents have been developed, those are fine. But how do we get to that level? For that also you should have your own systems and procedures that will help you develop your own intellectual property for your own organization. So this, in our understanding, is one of the crucial inputs that this EIA accreditation scheme can give to our country in terms of long-term development of this knowledge. The second, of course, is very, very important, that is field investigation and data integrity. Here we have laid down that what kind of laboratory arrangement should be there. We felt that the laboratory should be at least MOEF recognized or NABL accredited. The NABL accredited laboratories undergo yearly surveillance, and there is a report, there are non-conformances. So there is some kind of a check for their quality, and also the MOEF recognized laboratories also they undergo assessment in between the 5 years period. So we felt that if we go for NABL accredited laboratory or MOEF recognized laboratory, at least the quality of the physical environment data monitoring will be to some extent ensured. The field investigation part, we said that the EIA team has to go to the site to decide on locations, type of samplings and other things, and not only that, during the process of data collection, they should also occasionally go and visit and find out whether things are being done properly or not. So this is the field investigation data. And the last and the most challenging thing is, you see, this scheme is trying to identify organizations who are theoretically capable of preparing proper EIAs. But ultimately, whether they choose to develop a proper EIA or not, that is their call. So, in spite of having, we have seen the same organization preparing entirely two different quality of EIAs. One for the foreign countries, say the Middle East or somewhere, and one for our country. So this is important, that whether they have commitments or not, and how do we check it, I will tell you later. So these are broadly the building blocks of this scheme. What is the process of assessment? We have the International Equality Council is a member of the International Accreditation Forum. So internationally the accreditation is for 3 years. So after the end of first year and second year, surveillance assessments are done, and at the end of the third year, an organization has to be reassessed, right, like in the beginning. So that same process we are following. And what are our stages of assessment, both for initial assessment as well as surveillance assessment, is that stage 1, where completeness of document, it is there in the QCI website, what all are to be included in the application. So the completeness of document, whether information has come correctly and they have come in proper formats or not, that is checked by the NABED Secretariat, where we have some very intelligent and young team. Then we send that technical document both in soft format and hard format to the principal assessor. Now, who are these assessors? These assessors are also people who have very long experience in EIA making, or EIA as a regulator, or as in the role of appraisal of EIA reports. And they should not be involved in any way in any EIA making process to avoid that conflict of interest. So it goes to the principal assessor. he goes through the technical part, technical side of the document, reviews it technically, and then raises non-conformances and observations, which we inform the applicant. The applicant then closes those non-conformances, whatever short. Okay. So that is how it is done. After the closure of the non-conformances, an office assessment is done jointly by two assessors, the principal assessor and another assessor. Now, what is the status? Last date of submission of application as set by the Government of India was 30th September 2010. 265 were received, 128 were accredited, and not approved were 83. 44 have been delisted for the time being, as their application is not yet complete, and which are with us as of today are 10. After that date also, we have received 60 applications, which we are trying to take a chronological. As I have said, we have given stress on investigation and laboratory work, field investigation. Key human resource like EIA coordinators, functional area experts should preferably be in-house, that's what we have said. Submission of false and misleading information may lead to rejection of application. 5-6 such cases have already taken place. Consultants not having minimum resources, that is only 3 permanent employees, like 1 EC and 2 FAs are not also approved. There are as many as 75 cases. Hence you can see that single person entities claiming to be EIA consultants have already been filtered out. And strict auditing we are trying to do during the surveillance assessment, and minimum 50% they have to get in 7 various aspects of assessment so that their accreditation can continue. So these are the various issues we see during surveillance, and hopefully, during surveillance, if there is any wrongdoing by an accredited consultant during the year, that will be all captured. Thank you.